Hey, how's it going? Will Ripley here. In this lesson, I wanted to show you 5 classic riffs that are super easy to play, and also just introduce you to the concept of the single note riff and all its benefits. My name is Will Ripley, and you're tuning in to Campfire Guitar Star. All right, now just before we get started, let's make sure that you got the PDF to go along with this lesson. Right on this page, you'll find a button, you'll find a link where you can get the tabs up in front of you. Of course, that's gonna be really helpful while we work our way through this lesson. And while we're hopping in here, I just wanted to point out that this is kind of a quick start guide to module 1 of my program called Stairway to Strumming. And it's currently on sale for over 50% off. And you'll find another link for that. You know, if you like this delivery, if you like this style, if this is kind of vibing with you as kind of a first stage for your guitar kind of rock stardom preparation, then you'll find a link on how to get more information on Stairway to Strumming and how to claim that discount. So there are so many benefits of single note riffs. Now, of course, on the intro there, I was playing the iconic Black Dog by Led Zeppelin, and both those parts, of course, I was playing the melody, like the singer's melody, Robert Plant's vocals there kind of on the guitar as well, and the riff. But what both those parts have in common is that I'm only playing one note at a time. And so with a single note riff, we get so many benefits. Number one, it's kind of like taking your fingers to the gym in terms of just getting your fingers better, faster, stronger, okay? So similarly to how we might benefit from playing a whole bunch of scales and, you know, cycling scales over and over, you know, something like, you know, and playing things like that over and over. Of course, we're going to get a lot of benefit from that. But as you know, if you're to sit down in front of the campfire, you know, and to play your major scale, it's not exactly going to get the crowd up and roaring and having a good time, right? So we want to have tunes that are fun to play. That's the first thing that I want to point out about riffs, is that it's kind of like playing scales, but it's kind of like a fun way to play, especially for some of you guys that are out there that are just kind of getting going on guitar. You'll get a ton of benefit from this lesson in just learning these 5 riffs and just single note riffs in general, okay? Now, another huge benefit of playing single note riffs is that it will get you ready for soloing. And if you're already soloing, then it will certainly improve what you're soloing on already. And so when you're soloing, you're actually playing single note riffs in a way, because usually you're playing one note at a time. So if I just rip through some scales here, okay, so what's going on there is, it sounds like lead guitar soloing, but really I'm playing one note at a time. So that's another huge benefit of learning and playing single note riffs. And last but certainly not least, another huge benefit of playing single note riffs is going to be, it's going to tighten up your rhythm. Because specifically with single note riffs, we're usually playing a melody, right? And of course the word riff is referring to a repeated phrase of music. So on that note, let's hop into the very first riff in this lesson, which is going to be Born Under a Bad Sign by Albert King, which is later covered by Eric Clapton and Cream. It sounds like this. And of course, by the way, make sure to grab that PDF to get those tabs. But what's really cool about this one is that we're just going to be basing all our notes right along the 2nd and 4th frets on the E string, the A string, and the D string. So our very first note is going to be the 4th fret of the A string. And we're just going to kind of walk up our fingers on 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, back to that root note. And as you can see, I'm using my 1st and 3rd fingers climbing up that little walkthrough on those 2nd and 4th frets. So nice and slow, looks something like this. And you climb up to there the 2nd time through, and all you're going to do is drop in a low E string at that point. Okay? and then that's the riff, okay? So that's the cycle, and here it is one more time. Okay, so that's the cycle, and that would get us back to the starting position again. So a little faster, ready, go. Okay, so great riff, super catchy. Absolutely love Albert King and Cream and just the blues in general. You know, it's just such a great blues riff. So that's gonna really help a lot of things. It's gonna get a lot of dexterity going on with your left hand. It's gonna get your picking hand activated, and ultimately you are playing a song, you are playing a riff. And if you can lock that in with the rhythm, then you're gonna become a better guitar player by playing something like this. Okay, so here's, that's the very first one I wanted to throw at you. Now, the next phase of single note riffs is maybe you notice something I was doing with my right hand. See if you can catch it this time. Yeah, I'm smacking that right hand down, aren't I? So yeah, with my right hand, what I'm doing is I'm kind of like actually making a pretty big movement to come in and swing with a soft fist. I'm just curling up my fingers like this, just to give me a little bit of a rhythmic kind of impact. And what I'm doing there is kind of imitating the snare drum. So the drummer would be going boom, 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 boom. So if you could kind of feel that rhythm, what I'm doing there is just playing that riff and integrating that snare drum hit with that soft fist. Okay, so again, that would look like this. Okay, and here's another move that will upgrade your single note riffing, which is something like that. So right there, I just have my fingers dead weight, okay? If you can get that sound, then you're on the right track. And I'm just striking my picking hand through the strings without fretting it. Now, a lot of guitarists make a mistake of squeezing this hand too hard, and they get like a bunch of fretted notes happening. So just be careful of that. You really would just want to have dead weight. Like I really don't have much going on here on the left hand. It's just stopping the strings from ringing. So something like that would sound like this. And what's kind of cool about that is when I strike my hand through the strings that way, I'm actually catching the note with an upstroke and again, muting all those strings. Now, these are advanced techniques, and maybe you remember I said that these riffs are super easy to play. And the thing is that they are. They're really easy to play. You've got these basic notes, and you can just play it like this. Sound good. Maybe you can lock that in with the original track and all that good stuff. But the next phase of making stuff sound really, really kind of pro would be some of these things that I'm showing you. Some of these muting techniques, this hand clap, the rake through the strings and stuff like that. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the next riff, which is going to be I Love R&R by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Now the full riff, you probably recognize, sounds something like this. Right, something like that. We're gonna play a very easy, simple one-string version of this because we're all talking single note riffs. However, if you're hooked in with me now, if you're liking this so far, well, stay tuned for my other free YouTube lessons coming out, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna upgrade this to the real version next time. But what I wanna focus on here is the melody, the rhythm, and we're also gonna integrate that hand clap here too. So what it's gonna sound like is this. So as you can see, it's all single notes, okay? So we're gonna start with 2 open strings, and instead of letting that ring, it's gonna sound really nice if you get a little rhythmic hand clap going on there with that soft curl of your fist, just getting your strings to clang into the frets. It's a metal on metal type of sound. Okay, nothing too hardcore going on. It might you know, roughen up some of the skin on the back end of your fingers here, but it sounds really good when you integrate it like that. So, okay, and right after that second one, okay, so we've got 1, 2, clap, 1, 2, clap. Okay, we're gonna grab the 3rd fret of the low E string. It sounds kind of cool if you give it a little bend too, but again, those are you know, more advanced techniques. But we're gonna go to the open A string now, and another clap. Okay, so what that sounds like so far is, ready, go. Okay, you can see right after that clap is I'm hitting that 3rd fret. Now, just a quick tip for that. What really helps is if you do that clap, try to get your pick right above the E string. Okay, so instead of having it down here somewhere, you'd have to bring it back up in order to get it up and ready for that 3rd fret. So you can see if I go right after the clap, and I get that right on top of that string, it's ready to go, okay? Now, quite simply, that brings us up to the 2nd fret. And we're gonna do something very similar with that, that clap and then a fast fretted note. So we go 1, 2, clap, and then same thing, get that pick on top of the low E string because we're gonna hit that exact same fret and that exact same note. And that brings us back to the top of the riff. So I'll go ahead and play it nice and slow. Here we go. Let's just go ahead and play it roughly about full tempo. 1, 2, 3, go. And as mentioned, stay tuned for future free guitar lessons right here on the YouTube channel, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna upgrade that to the real deal power chord version, and that will give you an overview of what you can expect to see in Module 2 of Stairway to Strumming. So let's move on to the next riff. It sounds like this. Let's see if you can guess it. That is, of course, Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. So let's do a very basic, easy version of this first. I'm gonna hit the low E string, and then go ahead and put your pinky finger up on the 10th fret of the A string. And we're just gonna descend down 4, 3, 2, 1, just like that. And as you can see, I'm activating all 4 fingers. I'm gonna hit the low E string again, and then I'm gonna go 10, 9, 8, 7 on the low E string. So that's it, like that's the riff. And then now, of course, it's about applying the rhythm to it, and then we'll talk about the advanced technique to make it sound more like how Jimmy Page played it. But you can totally get the melody and the rhythm going on and get a great exercise for your fingers by going like this. Ready? Go. All right, so the upgrade to that would be to actually, so we got those 4 fingers, as you know. We're gonna go down to our 3rd finger and actually bend that string. And you get all these fingers loaded up in behind it, so you got lots of power on that string. And that's really the key to bending, by the way, is to always have fingers loaded up in behind the string, which will help you do this. Okay, so same thing, we do a couple open strings. Grab that third finger on the 9th fret and bend it up. And then you drop it down just to the normal position in 9th fret with no bend and hit it again. So it's bend on 9, release on 9, okay? And then we're gonna go skip a couple, go down to 7th fret, bend that guy up, okay, up to the note that we were playing with our 2nd finger. So, and then what's really cool is that we go ahead and play the exact same thing on the next string, just like in the other version. I'm applying vibrato there, which is, again, an advanced technique which takes a lot of practice, so no worries if it's not sounding too good right now, but... All right, cool. So great work so far. Hopefully those riffs are making sense and you're kind of seeing yourself practice these in the future and get all the benefits that I've listed out for you here. So let's go ahead and move on to a harder riff. Okay, so of course we've introduced all kinds of advanced techniques throughout these riffs, but we're gonna up the ante here, give you another riff that it's just a little more complex. Okay, so the next one we're gonna go into is Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, which sounds a little something like this. All right, so pretty basic idea here. We're gonna start on the 3rd fret of the low E string, and we're just gonna kind of cycle this thing from the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And using our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers as well as our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd frets. So it's kind of awesome that way, pretty easy in that sense. So of course, it really helps to always know these riffs and kind of have them in your head before you start playing them. And I've tried to really pick, some super famous songs here. So hopefully you kind of know the melody and the rhythm of these already and how they're supposed to go. And now we just got to learn how to play them on the guitar and then of course just get our fingers fast enough to be able to play them. So nice and slow, what this one looks like is something like this. Okay, so as you can see, we had that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but then we went 1, 3, 1, 3, okay? So we'd skip that 2nd fret, so. And then we would end that little section right there on the 1st fret of the A string, okay? And again, it kind of sounds nice when you throw in a bit of a tweak there, a little bit of a bend, but yeah, so. Almost gonna repeat that. Okay, a little variation there. 3rd fret of the A string to the 1st fret. Okay, we go back to the main kind of idea. Okay, a little bend there. So the whole riff, nice and slow, sounds something like this. Ready, go. And also stay tuned for a future lesson where I'll show you a super easy way to play the chords to Paradise City without really even knowing how to play and switch chords. It's actually awesomely easy. As you can see, I'm just moving one finger. And by the way, that's a really big mistake that a lot of people make when they're playing guitars. They're trying to like hop right into chords and chord strumming from, you know, ground zero. And that's really what I'm suggesting in this video here, is for you to start with riffs, get those fingers exercised and warmed up, and start playing some rhythm and melody. And when you do hop into chords, you'll be much better off, and you'll just stand a way better chance of succeeding at guitar. Okay, and the last and final riff that I wanted to share with you guys today is Crazy on You by Heart. It sounds like this. Okay, so we've got that super classic melody, and we're going to kind of use a riff that's over across three strings. So we start on our open A string, second fret open, and then third fret to second fret on the A string, open. Okay, so far as we got bum, 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 bum. We hold that first fret on the low E string. And then, yes, we got that first fret and the third fret. So that main melody sounds like this. And now, yeah, as you can see, we played that twice, and then we're going to move into the... So it starts out the exact same way. So as soon as you get... That's always the same for each one of the kind of starting points for the riff. So instead of the first fret, we're going to go to the third fret. Repeat, start on that second fret of the D string, first fret, back to that second fret of the D string, back to the third fret, and finish off right where you started on that open A string. So it seems kind of complicated maybe. Make sure to grab the PDF, the tabs. You know, it's nice to have the numbers right in front of you. But I'm going to go ahead and play this nice and slow, and hopefully you can link up with me here. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. And I just noticed when I'm playing that, on that final passage, I switch my fingers to the second finger. Depending on how you feel and what's right for you, you can do that too. But anyways, I just wanted to point that out, that yes, I am using different fingers for that final passage, but you could certainly just use the same fingers all the time. So guys, that's what I had planned for you. Again, grab that PDF, make sure you download that. It's nice to have those riffs right in front of you. And also, as mentioned, this is kind of an overview of Module 1, the crash course inside of my program, Stairway to Strumming. And of course, inside of the actual paid program, we go way more into depth of technique and strumming and how to hold a pick and just getting yourself ready. And then, of course, we launch into a whole bunch more. But I hope that you can see the power in this, because single note riffs will give you all those benefits as mentioned. And really, not only is it a super important guitar technique, you know, but it's going to help you in the future when you get ready for more advanced techniques like strumming, switching chords, you know, all that good stuff. And then also, as mentioned, it shares a very similar technique into soloing. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and stay tuned for the next one, because as mentioned, we are going to upgrade some of these riffs that we went into in today's lesson. So I want to kind of continue this and make it kind of like a Stairway to Strumming mini course. So whether or not you do invest in Stairway to Strumming, you'll still get a ton of value from hanging with me here in these free lessons. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you in the next one. My name's Will Ripley, and keep on ripping it up.